light is really shown on most of us. The light is really starting to connect with a lot of people out there who didn't necessarily even consider themselves spiritual people, and they have become that. And now they're doing amazing things that they wouldn't have done before, like Reiki or prayathons or past life regressions. All of these things are moving us towards the light and the new earth.
Yeah, it's all a cumulative thing, and it is very hopeful. And one of the things I notice when I do my soul introduction readings, in the records, I can measure what your vibrational frequency is. What I've seen over a period of time is how it's moving up, which is so exciting and life affirming. I'm watching them where in past lives we might have gone up 1 or 2/10 of a point in a whole lifetime. Now people are jumping up 5, 6, 7, 8 points, and they're not even done yet. Yeah. So we're going up the scale from the lower 5s, which most of us came, to now the low 6s. And some are starting to move up in the 6s. That's mind-blowing, phenomenal. And how is that going to change the world? That's exciting.
Yes, it is exciting. Let me tell you, 10 years ago, I did not believe that I could channel, nor did I have any inclination to do any kind of psychic work. I did not want to do it. I was sort of pushed into it. And right around the time of the 2016 election, that's when I started to go, maybe I should make a video about this. Right? But I didn't necessarily, I've been doing shamanism for many years, but I didn't think I would have a YouTube channel until maybe 3 days before I actually made it. And that's when things got started. And I'm so glad that I did. But I'll tell you, all of you out there, you didn't anticipate this. You'll notice you've really changed leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I didn't believe in reincarnation 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a huge leap to go from not believing in it to going in the records and, eyeball deep.
Yeah.
So they bring us along as we're ready, bit by bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm seeing with the people.
Well, Deborah, on that note, I might ask you at some point to go take a look at my Akashic record.
I would love to. Yes.
Well, hey.
Now, when you go to the records, and you can do this, you can use your process, ask for access to your records, go in, and just be open to whatever you get. Now, you can ask for things specifically, but it's really fun just to go and have the experience. So one time I went in, and there's this big Cyclops who met me. And we went on this adventure together. He put me on his shoulder, and we went cross country. We arrived at this big chasm that had a little footbridge across it. So I'm looking at the bridge, and I'm looking up at Cyclops and wondering, what are we going to do here? Because he's not going to fit on that bridge. He shrunk down to my size. Oh. And I'm like, you can do that? And he says, well, you didn't know? No, nobody told me. And so we cross the footbridge. We go up this little hill to this peak of a mountain, and there's a little tiny cabin. It's the Dalai Lama's house. We go in, and he makes tea for us. Then we all sit together in this little circle, and he gives us a profound message and then sends us on our way. And we walk out the door, and I'm so puzzled because this was when I was pretty new to this thing, and I didn't understand how it all works yet. And the Cyclops is wondering, what's my problem? And I said, what was he trying to tell us? He says, you didn't get it. He was giving us a profound message about the future. No, he says, oh, you'll get it. And then he turned into a bird and flew away. So what experiences might you have when you go into your records? Who knows? I go to outer space a lot. They take me out that way quite often.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you're going to outer space, is that a particular kind of record or process?
No, it's like you're seeing a movie. It's like you go to the movies when you go to the records. Now, there was a time when I went in and I saw the big library. And it was so old-fashioned, they had card catalogs. And over time, card catalogs went away and they got a help desk with a computer.
Yeah,
So they like to
fantastic.
have fun with you. They'll meet you
Mhm,
where you are, and they will help you
mhm.
to expand. So the most important thing is just do it regularly, practice.
Yes. Yeah. And they do like to have fun. They like to have a joke with you. You know, when you're laughing, you're really close to spirit,
Yeah.
especially if you're laughing together with others and not at someone. But when you're truly in that place, of joy, you are very close to spirit and they will make hilarious jokes with you.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
Go
you
in on
know,
your birthday and see what happens. The first time I went on my birthday, I come in,
huh,
they're already having a party, and
huh.
they talked to me for a little bit and then kinda sent me on my way, and I'm like, "Well, it's my birthday party, shouldn't I be here?" "Oh, no, they don't need you." They are celebrating that on your birthday every year, they close one archive and start the next.
Ah,
Yeah.
huh, how fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So I'll tell you, gosh, it's so long ago, 35 years ago. I, by chance, was in a class with a person who was channeling. I didn't know what that was. And she said on the last day class, come on over. Me and a couple of people went over. And I was absolutely floored by what these people were able to tell me about my own life. And there were jokes after jokes after jokes, like where they were teasing me using my own expressions. And I mean, me and the other two people, and all of us were as like kind of regular people as you could be. One of them was the assistant wrestling coach. So I went home and my head was in the clouds. Like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that people would be able to tell me these details of my life. And my head's in the clouds. I get home. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. And I open the door under my sink. And guess what fell out from the trash? Boom, right in front of me. A Seth book.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know who Seth was. And even universe was like hitting me over the head. You're going to be a channeler. You're going to be a channeler. I didn't believe that. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Right. So for all of you guys who are starting small, it just evolves the way that it does. And you might think of your contribution as being a small one, but they're all really big. Every day you go through your life, do kind things to people, it makes a huge difference, even if nobody's giving you an audience. And in some ways, it's the best way. In some ways, doing the right thing somewhat anonymously, it feels better.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you
Mm.
find the Seth book? Did you read it?
I did. I read it cover to
Mhm.
cover.
Okay. Because I find it
And
very dry.
it is pretty dry. It's very technical. I had never read anything like that. So I did read it cover to cover. I was and am a big reader. I swear to God, there were pages in there that were written just for me. And they would say, "We don't know why he said this," and I was like, "What?" But yeah, it can be a bit dry. But again, it was my first one. I'm very fond of there's people who channel the one, but that is again very dry, very intense, very heavy material. I think, Deborah, what you and I have done is we're trying to channel for things that are happening to us really presently.
Yes.
Think that other channels are doing something different, and that's fine. But we are very interested in what's happening for humans right now here. How can we help people now? And I think that there's a really important role for that. And when I speak to people, when I get clients, they all tell me, look, I really needed to calm down. And that's why I watched your videos. I really needed to know that there is a reason for these things that are happening. And part of that reason is that we're all evolving. We're all learning amazing things at this time because, difficult things bring great learning.
Yeah, and if you're having a rough time, if you're feeling depressed or blocked or any of those negative things that are just, making you be in the dumps, going into the records is like the best remedy for that because they will put on such a show to help you shift your energy. And the thing is, when you're in the records, you're really there. You're not making this up. Your soul is there. That's as real as we are here right now. In fact, I think it's more real. So when you go and you have that experience, you are changed when you come back. You can't not be. So you keep going, you keep getting more and more. I mean, one year for my birthday, Jesus came in a tuxedo and I'm in a ball gown and we waltzed together. It was so amazing. I would have never expected that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, happy birthday to me. That's fabulous.
It is fabulous. I never expected Jesus. I was not raised at all in a religious household. I was very agnostic, and I practiced shamanism for 30 years, very much more interested in those kinds of, beings, let's just say, because we are still talking about beings. I don't have anything against Christianity, but I did notice that some of his followers weren't living up to his name. So I was quite surprised one day when Jesus showed up as I was channeling. I'm not just surprised, but really moved. And as I say this, Jesus, Confucius, medicine women from Native America, from North America, all of these things, I don't care what religious attachments you have, they're all great, right? One does not exclude the other. They're just different ways of seeing. And when my clients connect to a guide, the guide will appear before them in a certain way. But that's just the way they're showing themselves to you. The same guides might show themselves quite differently if you lived in a Hindu environment. So there really are no exclusions in my mind. No spiritual leaders are excluded. One is not better than the other. But I was quite amazed when it showed up.
Well, have you checked to see if you have a past life with him?
I have checked, and I have been told that there is some connection to me in past life. Um, Perhaps a more friendly one, not a familiar one. I have been told that I was involved in that way.
Yeah.
Spirits interesting with me though, because I know that I'm not being told some of my lifetimes. I wonder if I did something just absolutely terrible and they don't want me to know. But I know that some of my lifetimes are a little bit limited. It's sort of on a need to know basis.
Yeah. Well, and you don't need to know today, but they might show you in the future. But I would guess because Jesus showed up for you and it's not somebody you were familiar or connected to, it's got to be a past life thing.
Yeah. He, I served in the Peace Corps in Hungary, and I lived near the Danube River, and he always shows up there in the same spot. And whenever he shows up, he's always like this. Stop worshiping, for goodness sakes. Let's just relax and have a good time. And he has dice, and he just rolls the dice, and he says, let's just have a good time for a while. Stop worrying. Stop stressing.
It's like relax and live.
Sorry?
Relax and live. Stop existing and start living.
That's great. Yeah. Now, I haven't cut this portion of the video of the past life regression that Deborah and I did, but there's one other portion that has to do with Jesus, which I hope to put up soon. So keep an eye out. But that's going to be some really interesting information too. It was such a great session we had. We were so clear. Yeah. Well, as you said again in the video, I'm asking, they will show up. All you need to do is ask. You said it's as simple as breathing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't believe that. They think it's hard, but that really is the truth when you allow. It's letting go of all those other blocks and I can'ts and must and shoulds and all of that. And ask yourself, how can I, when you hit one of those blocks? And you'll be shown a way.
You'll be shown a way. And don't hesitate to do some great reading. One book that got me started in this was Inner Work. And in Inner Work, there's sort of a Jungian process of active imagination where you sort of kind of create a character that represents your unconscious. It's not supposed to be more real. It's just a psychological process. But I realized that that psychological process helped me get beyond, oh, it's just my imagination. It's just my imagination. Because I just sort of accepted that it was imagination in the beginning, right? And then so many things were confirmed for the imagination entity that I had created. So many things were, became true that I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is this my imagination or not? If it feels like imagination, just start going with it. See how far you go. And if the next day things start to get confirmed, don't be surprised. If spirit's going to talk to you, it's going to talk to you through that portion of your unconscious that has pictures and dreams and things like that. And in the beginning, it may not be at all accurate. But if you keep going with that, whatever practice that you do, and I always recommend people get together with other people and practice whatever it is that you are doing. Get together with others because they will complement you, they will help you, they will connect you, and they will become great friends that you will really appreciate over time. So do the work and don't worry about others, what they might think of it. I wouldn't necessarily go share it with everyone what you are doing, but you'll know who to share it with. And all these contributions make a difference. The universe really is asking us to step up, to evolve in a particular way. And I'll tell you, I have also been told to be sympathetic to people who are, don't necessarily agree with me, even the Donald Trumps of the world. I have seen that they too are perfect in their own way. They were not born evil. Things happened to them that made them that way. And if you saw Trump as a child, you would have sympathy for him in the way that he was treated.
Absolutely. Sure.
There's no need to go to any kind of hatred. And that will only feed the fire. But it will always sort of stop people when you say, no, I don't hate him. I believe in these things, and that's why I am doing it. And it's always helpful to listen to the person. They're probably saying something underneath what they're saying that is very real. There are people who have been displaced, dislocated throughout the United States because of NAFTA and the social changes that occurred. They have not found their place in this world yet. And some of their upset is quite legitimate. I don't think that we should take it on a minority of people. That clearly isn't right. But it's helpful to identify with those people and see what's really bothering them. And if possible, ask questions that help them see themselves. I never would have got that far without Dolores Cannon and without the whole Jesus connection. I never would have considered that I should stop being a little bit less righteous and connect to them. They are a reflection of us in a sense that they are requiring us to act in a better fashion.
In the soul introduction, the reading that I do, which we are going to do, there are some gifts who are very judgmental and very self-righteous. And the thing is, you've probably judged yourself for being that way and wanted to be better. But when you understand it's how you're wired, and it's actually something that's there for you, it's the shadow side of your gift. And part of your journey is learning how to get that perspective, to balance it out with the other side of yourself. But when you know that, oh, wow, it's how I'm wired, it's normal for me, it's so much easier to put it in perspective and to stop doing it.
Yes. Yeah. Have sympathy for yourself. But look, all this stuff is very emotionally triggering. And we have gone through much of our history trying to repress certain emotions. These are bad. These are bad. These are bad. So, of course, they explode because they need our attention. If you can, however, recognize your emotion and say, wow, that is a reasonable emotion to have. I'm not going to act now. I'm going to just accept that this is an okay emotion to have. And maybe I'll figure out more details about that emotion and ask that emotion, hey, when's the first time you got really, really angry? You can do a lot of internal work in this process.